Welcome to Mededia. This is Tariq. Today we're going to do another mock interview of one of our Mededia mentees, Dr. Khadija Amanullah. Hi, Dr. Khadija Amanullah. How are you doing?
Hello, Dr. Tariq. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. I come from a family of doctors. Both my parents are doctors. My siblings are also in the same field. So that was the kind of initial stimulus for me to join medicine. I graduated from Army Medical College in 2018, and that experience inculcated a sense of discipline and punctuality in me because of the tinge of Army. And after that, I did my internship in 2019 for 1 year. And my clinical experiences in both Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have given me the opportunity to experience, to work in diverse clinical settings and interact with people coming from a variety of cultural backgrounds. I have also been working on numerous research projects during my research year with the team in King Faisal Specialist Hospital in Jeddah, and my write-ups include case reports, manuscripts, and editorials. And this experience taught me the ethical responsibility of myself towards others. And currently, I am doing a clinical rotation in internal medicine in King Faisal Specialist Hospital here in Jeddah. I aim to get an excellent clinical training experience, and I'm positive and hopeful that your program will help me achieve that because I believe that my career goals align well with the vision of your program. And apart from that, if I would talk about my interests, I would say that whenever I get free time, I really enjoy to cook. I love making breakfast, different kind of omelets. I'm also very fond of traveling and exploring new places. And I love to do aesthetic food photography. So that's pretty much about it.
Interesting, very interesting. So tell me, why didn't you come from Army Medical College, you said, right? Why didn't you join Army, or did you consider joining Army?
No, it was never on my plan. I never intended to join Army. In Army Medical College, you can study as a civilian student.
As a
So I was,
NUSTian candidate, right?
yeah,
NUST candidate,
yeah.
yeah. Interesting. So you were the NUST candidate. You were never the medical cadet.
No, I wasn't a medical cadet. I was a
Okay.
Nastian cadet.
So why was that? Why you never wanted to join Pakistan Army?
The reason for me not joining Pakistan Army was because after you graduate, being a military cadet, you have to spend around 4 to 5 years before you can start your medical training. And I thought that it would delay the process of me getting into the specialty that I like. This was the first reason. And the other reason was that you didn't have an option to choose the specialty that you wanted to be in. Like you were given a specialty, so you had to do that. So I didn't want my career to go in that path. So that's why I wasn't much attracted towards it.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of my friends didn't pick Army for the same reasons. So, and what if you weren't really interested in Army, then why go to Army Medical College? I'm just a little surprised. Why not go to the other medical colleges in Pakistan?
Because firstly, the location where it was, that's where we lived. And my elder sister also went to the same college, and it was like it is among one of the best colleges in Pakistan. So my aim was to get medical education from one of the best institutions. So it didn't really matter to me whether it was a civilian or an army institute. So since I took the test for it and I got selected in it, so I opted for going to that college.
Okay, interesting. And then your hobbies, you said you like to make different kinds of breakfast, right? So what different kind of breakfasts do you make?
Thank you so much for asking me because I am really fond of cooking, especially making different kinds of breakfast. And what I really love doing is making different omelets. I like to make cheese and mushroom omelets, the vegetable omelets, and I like to prepare a whole platter for the breakfast. And since I'm also fond of doing food photography, so then I really do take pictures of that as well. So yeah,
Okay,
and apart
interesting.
from yeah.
What's your favorite kind of omelet? The one you like to
My
cook
favorite
and the
omelet
one that you like to eat.
My favorite is the cheese and mushroom omelet.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming you like to eat that the most as well, cheese and mushroom omelet. How do you cook your
Yeah.
cheese and mushroom omelet?
So for cooking that, it's pretty easy. What you have to do, if you have to make a single serving, so you just
Mhm.
take 2 eggs and put them in a bowl, beat them, and then you add salt and black pepper according to your taste, and you can add spices. I usually add oregano as well at that stage because it gives it a little bit of more flavor and a nice fragrance as well. And then I preheat the pan a little bit, add a little bit of olive oil, and then put the egg mixture into that. And one thing that I learned over time was that when I put it on the pan and I add the cheese and mushrooms, which I've already cooked a little bit beforehand so that they are properly cooked, and then I cover it so that the top portion of the omelette also gets cooked with the
Cooked
steam.
thoroughly.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
easier to turn it, flip it that way. So I do it that way, and it always turns out to be yummy according to my family.
Okay. So do you saute the mushrooms before? And if yes,
Yeah.
what do you use to saute them?
I just like stir fry it a little bit in oil and add a little bit of salt and black pepper into it. That's it. I
In the
usually use the
mushrooms?
sorry.
You add black pepper to the mushrooms too.
Yeah, just a little bit of salt and black pepper for stir frying it
No
before
butter.
adding it in. Sorry.
Do you add any butter? Any
Uh,
butter to your mushroom to the mushrooms, or you don't add any butter?
no, no, no,
Because in
no.
America,
I
a lot
only
of
use
people
olive.
add butter. Okay, interesting. And how did you develop your passion for food photography?
I think that that's something that I've always done since I got a smartphone because I usually do the photography with my phone. I didn't really have a proper camera for it. But I think that I am really fascinated by the angles by which I take food pictures and focusing on the fine details in those pictures. Like if you see my gallery, I have pictures of everything that I've eaten till date. So I really like doing that. And like whenever we go out to a restaurant or something and the food comes, my family knows that they have to wait until I take a picture of the table and the items. I don't know. I just really like doing that. So
Does
that's how
anybody
it
ever
is.
get annoyed by on you for doing that?
I won't lie, but yeah, when I take like a little bit of long time to get the perfect pictures, so that
Yeah.
might annoy them at times. But they
Yeah,
know
because the
they,
food is warm, right? So everybody wants to jump in
yeah,
and eat. Okay, interesting.
yeah.
What's your biggest strength, you think, as a doctor?
My biggest strength, I think that I am very organized, and for that, I always try to keep a checklist of things with me so I don't miss out on anything. I
Hmm.
work in a very systematic manner, and I've applied that to when I was working as an intern during my internship year. Whenever I was on my on-call duties, I used to keep a checklist of all the beds of the patients so I don't like miss out even a single thing, like even may it be a very small matter because I you can forget because you get involved in doing other things, and then later on if you just go through your checklist you remember that, oh, I haven't done this thing. So that really helps me. So I think that's one thing that I always do, and it has helped me a lot during my practical life.
Interesting, interesting. And what's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness, I would say, is that when I was in school as well as in medical school, my friends used to give me this input that I talk at a very fast pace. And I realized that it was affecting my performance, and it could affect my performance even in the future. So I started working on it and I slowed down my pace. I think it's kind of familial because my elder sister, she talks even at a faster pace than me. But I realized it at that time and I started working on it in my interactions with patients when I used to take history from them. So I used to speak at a slower pace so that they understand that. And I was also given this input that I speak faster when I used to give vivas to my professors because they would usually ask me to repeat the answer because I would just like say it at a very fast pace. So I realized that it could affect me later on in life as well. So I started working on it from the beginning of medical school, and that way I was able to grow out of it. And I'm pretty sure that I would slow down even more in the future, and I'm currently working on it now as well.
Okay, pretty good. You're currently working in Saudi as a medical officer, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, not as a medical officer. I am working as an intern in the
Intern.
internal medicine
Okay.
department.
Okay. So what's the difference between an intern and medical officer in Saudi?
Actually, it is not a paid job because I cannot work here as like a regular job over here since I'm not licensed to work here. But I only was able to get the permission to shadow the doctors here and interact with the patients to an extent that I can take their histories and I can present the cases to the consultants. And I'm also allowed to like update the progress notes of the patients in their system under supervision. So that's what
Are
my
you
job
able to do
description
physical exam?
I can do physical exams, but along with other residents.
Okay, interesting. So, can you tell me, have your patients in Saudi, I'm assuming they speak Arabic, right? Do you
Yeah.
have any communication issues with your patients here? It's because of the language barrier?
Uh, Yes, I have encountered that on multiple occasions. The thing is that this hospital, it's a specialist hospital, so mostly the patients that come here, they are able to communicate in English. They have to some extent, they do understand English, but that could be like limited. So for that
Mhm.
purpose, they have official translators over here. So for people like me or the doctors, because not all the doctors over here are Saudis or who speak Arabic, so they also utilize that facility. So whenever we have to like interact with patient on our own, so we do take those translators with us and they help us interacting with the patient.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
good. So that's you learned that using the services of a translator helps you overcome the communication barrier. What's do you think is the biggest challenge for us as physicians?
Sorry, your voice was a little bit interrupted.
Can you
Can you-
tell me what is the biggest challenge for us as physicians?
Um, I think that since the world is globalizing more, and we had this experience in the pandemic as well, so I believe that making medicine progress at that pace could be a little bit of a problem because we experienced that when the pandemic came and the vaccines, when they became available, they were easily accessible to the people in the developed countries. But from the part of the world that I come from, like Pakistan or any other developing country, we had access to vaccine on a quite late. So the physicians over there had to pass through this phase in which they didn't really have a cure for the condition or the vaccine wasn't available. So I think that the socioeconomic status of physicians belonging to different countries can be a possible barrier in care. And I think that's what a possible cause can be.
Interesting. So global lack of equality in healthcare. Okay. Um, all right. And where do you see yourself in 10 years?
To be honest, that is a very long time, but as we all know, that time usually flies. So currently, I am interested in keeping all my options open and working as an and developing my skills as an internist and focusing on all the subspecialties and all the opportunities that I will get to, and I want to use them to know each and every subspecialty in order to decide that what suits me more. So regarding that, I think that my residency training will help me decide more that which field I'm more inclined towards. But apart from that, I do know that I'm very much passionate about teaching. I love to teach. I believe that teaching others makes you learn yourself. So, and I've been like involved in teaching since a very young age. When I was like around I was in grade 7 and 8. I used to teach my younger brother and his friend. I used to teach them when they were in first grade. So I have had this inbuilt or inherent trait in me that I have been more inclined towards teaching. So I would love to be involved in academics and medical education. And other than that, I have also developed an interest in research after I have been working on these projects. So I would also love to be somewhere where there is an amazing research infrastructure, and I would definitely want to be a part of that.
So, Dr. Manula, we're not a very strong research program. We do some research, but it's just case reports here and there. Our we're very busy clinical point from clinical side. So our trainees don't get enough time to focus on research. Would that be a challenge for you?
I already, since I went through your program and I had the idea about that, but I don't think so that it's going to affect my decision because my current aim is to get an excellent clinical training experience and intense hand-on experience that I think that your program is best at giving. So my goal currently is to develop myself into a clinician that has these skills. I want to learn more and grow as a person, grow as a clinician. So I think that's what I'm focusing on, and that's what your program will give me. So I don't think so that not having enough research opportunities would in any way impact my decision.
Okay. As an applicant who has been raised in multiple countries, do you think what has been your biggest strength? What have you acquired from, especially being somebody who has been raised in different cultures?
Yes, that's a very good question, and I think that it has helped me grow as a person because when I started, when we moved to, like, moving across cities can be difficult, and when you move across countries, changing schools, interacting with people, different kinds, even like people having different languages, so it helped me develop this capability of adjusting easily in unfamiliar environments. Like I'm very flexible now. I can adapt easily. I am able to accommodate easily in different scenarios. I don't get uneasy, and that's, I think, one of the biggest quality or the strength that I've developed by this process of moving around. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck for the match. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Dr. Tariq. Yeah, I do have a question. I basically have two questions, I would say, that I read about your program, and I really like that how your program deals with a unique patient population, and it has an excellent mentorship program, which is well designed. I read that you mentioned that you have two tracks. One is the community outreach leadership track, and the other one is the clinician educator track. So I was really, I found it really interesting and different from other programs. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about those tracks, if you can tell me.
Sure, absolutely. So in the leadership track, we expect you to work on some QI projects, at least two during your residency training. The expectation for other residents is to work on one QI project. You will be expected to work on two QI projects. At the same time, you will be paired with a local leader, healthcare leader, or medical director in one of our departments. You would work closely with them and try to come up with the first identify a problem and then come up with a creative, innovative solution. That's a leadership track. In the educator track, you will be working closely with the teaching faculty. We will expect you to lead grand rounds at times. We will expect you to give multiple presentations. We will assign medical students to you. You will be teaching the medical students so that you can hone on your teaching skills. And once you're a senior resident, chief residents, we expect you to spend most of your time teaching the junior residents. So the idea is whatever you want to, whatever way you see yourself in future, we want you to master those skills as a teacher, as an educator, or as a healthcare leader.
Okay, that's really interesting, and I would definitely love to explore these tracks more.
Sure.
And I also wanted to ask you that I was going through some of your papers, and you have an amazing experience in research. I read one of your case report that was about unilateral thalamic infarct as a result of bilateral deep cerebral vein thrombosis. And I like never had seen such a case, and it was even mentioned in the case report that this was the first ever case. And I was just wondering that since it was published in 2018, around 4 to 5 years back, so since you have been working in the field so much, did you have an opportunity of witnessing such a case again in your career?
No, it's actually pretty rare that you will see something like that. Typically, like I was a trainee when I worked on that case, and
Mhm.
I'll tell you, even from my experience, that you'll see a case like that once in a decade or something like that. It's not something you will see
Oh,
routinely. And the question, the
yeah,
bigger question is that why did the patient have left-sided infarct and why not right-sided infarct?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Especially because it's a bilateral DVT. Patient
Mhm.
should, or sorry, bilateral deep cerebral vein thrombosis.
Yeah,
So the patient should have bilateral thalamic infarcts. There's an
yeah.
interesting paper, I think I referenced it in my paper, that talked about that the right-sided circulation has some collateral flow in some
Collaterals,
patients.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because of that reason, you can see the right side get away without an infarct. But yeah, that's that was the whole point of that case report, that in that patient the right side had collateral supply saving the right thalamus, but the left side was the only one that came up with an infarct as a rare presentation.
Yes.
When you see this bilateral, it's slam dunk deep cerebral venous thrombosis, but when you see it only on one side, that's more challenging because we typically don't expect to see unilateral thalamic infarct as a sequela of deep cerebral vein thrombosis.
Yeah.
Any other question for me?
Thank you so much. It was really nice meeting you, and I had an amazing experience talking to all of you, and I would absolutely love to hearing back from you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dr. Manal. That was nice meeting you. Good luck for the match.
Thank you so much.
All right, Khadija, very good. Very, very good job. Feedback time. You did very good. Eye contact was phenomenal. I really like how you didn't even look into the monitor and were constantly looking at the camera. The smile was good. The confidence was good. I think, tell me a little bit about yourself. Could be a little crisp. It was a little too long.
Okay.
I'm so glad how, the entire confidence, the aura, that was all perfect. You need to invest in some hands-free or AirPods, I'll say that, because there was a lot of reverb. I don't know if it showed up in recording or not. I could hear myself talking, and I probably, because you're not using headphones or AirPods or hands-free, something like that. Get those, because it's a little awkward. And the reason you had asked me, I think initially it was a little awkward that you asked me 2 or 3 times. Nothing wrong with it. If you can't hear the other person, ask them. Sorry, excuse me, I didn't hear you. But I think you couldn't hear because your laptop or computer, the speakers aren't the best, and you don't have hands-free. So get some hands-free so that you can hear the interviewer better. If you can't hear them, it's always okay to ask them to repeat themselves. But if that is happening again and again, that means there's some problem with the sound system. The answers were good. Your confidence was good. I didn't ask you the typical questions that we have been practicing in the interviews before, but I think for the final round, you did very good. Do you have any questions for me?
I just wanted your feedback, like what things to improve. So I think that I'll work on these things.
Sound system, and get some.
I was pretty anxious before the interview. Like, although I know you and we've been like talking for so long, but still there was this anxiety because it was a proper.
Yeah, keep practicing. Keep practicing. You will overcome the anxiety. That's the whole point. I understand, you have done at least 5 sessions on these, and, you have done multiple interviews before, but when it's the real deal, this is being recorded. So you're nervous on that, because you'll be judged. So similarly, you need to get comfortable with that feeling of being nervous. So interview multiple times with your peers and get used to it. Any other questions, Khadija? Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you learned something from this mock interview. If you did, please like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Like we always say, never give up, never lose hope.